Welcome everybody to Bottom Line with Roni and Byron. The special today is called Be a Man. We're having a conversation about today's fathers and fatherhood. So it's very enlightening and it's very, I guess we would say, timely for Father's Day that is coming up. And this Sunday will be Father's Day. So we're celebrating to all the fathers out there, but we're having a real conversation with the fathers. And I've got two in mind. I've got 5 kids, so I think I bring I guess a good perspective in mind. So we have Lonnie Gilbert. We also have Mr. Rico Williams. So these are members of our community that we all know, that we all engage with, and we're all fathers, and we kind of we share some similarities, and we're at different stages and fatherhood. And so welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you for having.
Yeah. So I want to open up and bring out a tough question. So the first question is, do you feel like as a man trying to be a good father, because being a good, that's a different, that's a different thing, trying to be a good father, that we're sometimes stigmatized and we're automatically hit with those negative stereotypes and negative, innuendos from society, even not just from women, but even from our own women? Do you sometimes, I'll let you start off, Rico.
Oh yes, you sometimes you get a hard goal for something that somebody else has done when you're trying to make your mark as your own individual person, and people look at you differently. But that's something that society, there's a problem in society as a whole. But I think the way you approach it, you just keep living your life, being the best man that you can be, and hopefully your kids will emulate what you're doing.
Yeah.
And they do something wrong. See, the good thing about it, I made a lot of mistakes, so I want to make sure my kids don't make the same mistakes I made. But I just didn't make the terrible mistakes, and try to teach them the difference between the two different kinds, and just try to live your life right. Because any situation you create can be a bad situation, as far as like driving too fast, and tell them different instances where people got life sentences for a kid just driving too fast, driving reckless, and kill somebody. Mm-hmm. So those are things I try to iterate with my kids to let them know that, it's consequences to your action.
Mr. Gilbert, how do you feel about that stigmatization and the negative stereotypes? Do you feel like that's something that we get from even our own women, and it's kind of hard to break that, that negative stereotype about fathers and men and what they won't do and etc.?
Yes, sir. It is kind of rough trying to break that, because one of the how can I say, one of the most famous sayings that you always hear from a woman to her son is that you just like your daddy. And so the Bible, I'm a preacher, so the Bible teaches us, there's the power of life and death lies within the tongue. So you be careful of the words that you speak on your son, because that could be a curse unto them, because 9 times out of 10, when they say you're just like your father, they're meaning it most time in a bad way, to the point to where like say if he do something, or you acting just like your dad, or something like that. But I agree with everything Mr. Williams he was saying, but on another level, as a man, we have it's not a competition, but then it seems to be sometimes a competition to where for some women, for some families or whatever of that nature, that they're always trying to match you up based compared to another man. You get what I'm saying? And so there's a lot of different angles for which we can hear that, but I agree with what Mr. Williams he was saying.
Yeah, so for me, it's hard because, you know, growing up, I watched the TV shows, I watched the movies, and I pay attention. And it's like, you know, men don't do this, or all men this and all men that. I'm like, that's not me, you know. And that might be the men that you encounter. That might be your experience, but that's not all men, you know. And it seemed like my entire life is always trying to push back. I mean, I've had situations where we'd be in restaurants, and it's happened multiple times. Where even if whether I'm with my wife on just a regular date night, or whether it's the entire family, the waitress would come to her with the check, and she would always correct them and point to me, and it just speaks to her. But at the same time, it lets you know, like, man, where this is where we at as men, to the point where you know, where to the point where it's not automatic. And now you know, I know people out there will say, well, you know, they try to throw me down the road of you know, toxic masculine or whatever that case may be. But as a man and as the head of the household, you know, unless I let you know otherwise, you know, that title still means something. And fathers, I think we're coming into a time where people, women in general, men as well, I think we're seeing that fathers are very, very, very important. You know, we're not just the side dish. You know, we're very, very important. We make our role comes to fruition later on. You know, but but it's like it's almost like being a soldier or a Marine. You know, we don't get the title of hero. You know, we don't get the accolade. We do everything we do. We put in. Not just for the now, but for the future. And even when we're dead and gone, you know, what we set in motion, the good ones, it still, you know, it still continues even after we're gone. And
yes, sir.
That's one of those things that really gets it. So I know it's frustrating for me, and I was wanting to know if it was the same thing. So I'll sidestep to our individual relationships with our wives, because once again, that negative stereotype or that stigma. But as a husband and a father are gender roles. A lot of conversation about gender roles, which, you know, just kind of flipped my mind. I never thought about it. But, you know, as a father, as a husband, are there gender roles designated in your relationship? So basically what I'm meaning is, are there things specifically that say you won't do that your wife has to do, and vice versa? Are things that she won't do that you have to cover down on? Like some men, they don't do diapers, they don't do the dishes, you know, and the woman has to do that. Does that work? I mean, for me, I'm a 50-50 guy. I hold the weight when she can't, and when I can't, she picks up the slack. I really don't. When it comes to my kids, I don't look at it as babysitting of my kids. So but now, if I'm doing a little too much of that scale, get to be a little unbalanced, I'm gonna say something. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, don't use me, baby. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? You got to step up. You know. But do you have those gender roles? I'll pass to you, Mr. Gilbert.
No, there's a perfect balance, I can say, and I can also say that my mom and father, they raised me to the point to teach you to do everything. You know, I know how to cook, I know how to clean, wash my own clothes, all that kind of stuff. So, but at the same time, there's no, we balance it out. Whatever needs done, we just, you know, hop in and do it. As you say, you know, those are our kids. So it's not no such thing as a babysitting duty or whatever. But I mean, so it balances out. You know, a lot of the time I end up working a lot, and you know, she has to just, you know, pick up the slack and take it, you know, from there. So, but it still balance out though.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Gilbert 100%. My parents always taught me to do everything just so you don't have to depend upon anybody else.
Yes, sir.
But
yeah. And see, that's a selling point. I always thought it was. during the courtship, you know what I'm saying, where you show you could cook. Hey, that's when I bring out the tools, you know. And then they know you can clean and you can do all that. Okay, you know, that's one of them perks. And you know, and that's one of the things that, you know, for a lot of women out there, you know, I was taught one thing about one of my cousins. He dropped me some jewels, and he would say, you know, when you're dating, you know, make yourself a mental list. And you just throw some things out there. You just put a check mark by it every now and then, you know. Oh, you can't cook? Well, just put a check by it. You know, you don't clean? What? Just put another check by that one, you know. So I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm saying, women do the same thing. They have a little checklist, you know, and that was one of the things I would. Yeah. So that gets me to go ahead.
One thing about those roles now, I recently had hernia surgery. And man, my wife came through, and she was phenomenal. Made sure I had everything I needed. It was to the point I couldn't even walk at one point.
Wow.
Yeah. My dad and my brother had to come and lift me up out the chair. I was on the walker. And man, that's a humbling feeling. Then you realize the support that you really have, because I'm the kind of person not to ask anybody to do something. I'd rather just do it myself. Yeah. But she really came through for me.
Yeah. I mean, and that was like for me. Go ahead, Gilbert.
Oh no, I said that was a blessing.
Yeah. That was the same thing for me, man. It was my first, well, both, but my first deployment, man. We were still dating, and you know, I was a tanker, so, and we weren't getting sent with our tanks, so it was like I don't know what's gonna happen out of this, man. So, you know, I don't even know if I'm gonna, you know, come back alive. I don't even know if I'm gonna be in the right state of mind. So I threw it out there. I gave her the option, you know, you want to break this thing off, and we, you know, if I make it back, we pick up where we left off. And she was like, nah, you know. And you know, the closest thing I would say, probably the common thing I share with a lot of people that's been incarcerated is that feeling, that life of being, you know, once you're gone, people forget about you, and it's only going to be that core family group, and it's probably going to be your mama, your daddy, you know, sister, brother, maybe one or two aunts, or you know, uncle or here and there, but it's going to be that core. And, you know, all you have, you know, at least back then, all I had was a picture. I didn't have FaceTime. I didn't have all I had was a picture. And that was the only thing that motivated me. And to come home and know that, you know, my business ain't out in the street. You ain't running around with different guys and all this, you know, you hold it down. That says a lot. And then to fast forward to a deployment where you got twins and you know, 3 kids along with brand new twins. I saw them born, and then I was gone, and to manage all of that, you know, that speaks a lot. So man, you know, and I've had multiple times where, you know, things would be tight, you know, money would be real tight, and I'm stressing, and she would do things just to give me the peace of mind, you know what I'm saying, just take the stress off of me. So, you know, it's all of those things that plays a very, you know, strong role. And that's what lets you know that, you know, a lot of people don't really take marriage and the sanctity of it and what it really means fully and wholeheartedly. And a lot of people I think they get caught up in a you know, TV and a fairy tale, but it's a lot, and it takes a lot. Right. And you got to be in it. It's a partnership. It's a business. It's the strongest, you know, unity you could ever experience, you know, stronger than any brotherhood. And yes, sir. You got to be in it, you know, and it's gonna take like this sickness and health, you know. So and it's a good feeling though, ain't it, Mr. Williams, man, when you like, when you like, man, I ain't got nothing in, man, I ain't got no help, and then boom, it's right there. She got you, you know, man. Hey, it bring you to tears, you know. My baby love me, man. Yeah, man. So I got a question specifically for you, Mr. Williams, because you've got older kids. You know, me and Mr. Gilbert, our kids are kind of in the same age group. But since you have older kids, what what conversations are you having with them?
Just about how you're going to be looked at as an adult. Like some of the things I did when I was a child to help the elderly people, they still remember that. So I tried to teach them growing up. You don't have to wait till you get older to start doing those things. You do them as you're young, and it'll follow you throughout the course of your life. Mm-hmm. So a lot of relationships that you build early. You just expound on them as you get older. Mm-hmm. Now, once they get older, now that's a tough thing, especially when you got a daughter. Mm-hmm. So my daughter, and I think I spoiled her so much that she don't have a boyfriend because she been treated so well.
You said the bar so high.
my wife gonna take her, make sure she get her nails done. I'm gonna make sure she go out to eat, and everything she wanted, we pretty much provided for her. We didn't want nobody to sell her a dream, and then she jumped for it. So if we go on vacation, you going with us. We're gonna take you and show you different places, so that you're comfortable within yourself, and you make decisions based on what you want and what you want to do with your life. And she's been real successful.
I know you proud, man. And that's one thing I juggle with, man, because I've got twin daughters and I got another one, so I got 3. So it's like, man, it's and they're growing so fast, man. So it's like,
now you wait till you get a grandchild. Now that's when you really
when
game step up, man. They get a smile when don't even feel like smiling. You just think about it, you just start smiling.
Man, shout out to my big brother DeWitt Bryant, man. He's got a grandbaby, man. She just sent me a picture yesterday. He's so proud, man. He got a picture. I was like, yeah, man, he's growing up so fast, man. And that's the thing, man. It seems like I get it. I see the shows and the movies, where they show the daughter graduating or she going off to college, and the dad, when he look at it, he still see the little toddler. You know what I'm saying? Because it seemed like that, man. In mine growing up, it's like, man, this time is flying. And it's like, I'm trying at that point to try to cherish, each year. You know what I'm saying? Because before you know it, even with me, and people ask me how old am I? Hold up. What happened to them to 10 years? You know what I'm saying? What happened? So I think that's a thing that we all could do, is reflect and kind of just cherish the time that we had, because I think it was Nipsey Hussle that said it. He said the way a child spells love is Time. So yeah, spending time is the biggest thing. Mr. Gilbert, yes, I got one that may be funny. What is the one thing you hate to do, or like is your pet peeve as a father, like as a dad, like with that one thing that you can't stand, or you just, maybe the wife think you like it, but you're like, man, I can't stand that.
Oh, that's a good question, man. Now that I think of it, now you asked me the question, I can't really give you an answer.
You got me waiting to hear that answer.
And it might get you in trouble too.
Yeah. You got to be careful. You got to be careful now.
I don't know. I guess because it's a few of them out there. I guess you could say.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick the right one.
So what you are you gonna pass? Or are you gonna pass?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass them now.
Okay.
All right, that's
or I let Mr. Williams answer that first.
And that was your question. You give me, you give me no trouble.
I go out right around the corner. I go out there on the limb. I'll say so, and I don't think it's been bestowed upon me. I think I just fell into it. But I hate being the bad guy all the time. I'm always the disciplinarian. I'm always the one to crack the whip. I come out with the belt. Ain't no asking questions. And sometimes I feel like, man, I do want to, I don't want to be the bad guy all the time, but at the same time, I know my role and I'm gonna run it right. That's one I would say. And
that's it.
And Daddy Day, man. Daddy Day, I don't want no tools. I don't want no work. I want the same. I want flowers. I want a dinner. Stop giving me work. You know what I'm saying? Stop giving me work. I could buy some tools. See, here's the thing. Like if I'm working on something, I'm like, man, I need me a tool, so I need this. That don't mean that's what I want for Daddy Day. Give me the same doggone.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want no work.
I think I got one for you. Okay.
All right.
I would take this because you know what I'm saying, that's part of being the man. But all the time, like when we used to go like out to eat and different things, or you ask them what you want to eat. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Or whatever you want. Why I'm asking you, what do you want? You can't, Yeah. So just sometimes those things, that's one of them pet peeves. I'm like, I need you to figure out something.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know. I don't know either. That's why I'm asking you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Yes, a lot of times, when you coming up through the struggle, you got to order your food first, so I know what I can get.
Yeah. They gonna go all out. So I know I just get me a fries or chicken nuggets or something. I ain't too hungry.
Keep it plain.
Yeah, I ain't too hungry. Give me a salad. But yeah, so my next question is, what is the most I guess we'd say essential life lesson that you have learned through your journey as a father and through fatherhood that you could give advice to somebody else? Say, hey man, this is something that I've learned in my time as being a father, that if I could tell the younger me, I would tell. I'll start with you, Rico.
Well, one thing that everybody don't think the way you think, or was raised the way you were raised. So you have to kind of understand other people in order to try to get the most out of them. So you got to understand the things that make them tick in order to achieve the same results you're trying to achieve. Because early on, I'm thinking you should think like this. You should have common sense, and this doesn't make sense because my daddy said, "Spat a rod, spoil a child." So he didn't talk much. He just go ahead and put it on you, and then you get it like that. I got it, but kids these days they don't get it like that. You have to explain it to them and give them different instances and stuff. So it took a little adjustment period, and then try to understand your child better in order to help them. So that's my thing, because it's a totally different generation. They're faced with things that we wasn't faced with. Yeah. I mean, with technology, the things that we didn't get till we was 15 years old and they see that at 12 on their phones, at 10 on their phones. So it's just a totally different world.
Yeah. Mr. Gilbert?
I would say time, love, and affection. I would tell men that it's okay to love your son. You won't be called soft if you love him. I was raised in a, let me see, old school, kind of like hard, tight, kind of like Rico, spare the rod, spoil the child, less talking, or let that belt, that switch do the walking, type of environment, as far as with my father goes. So, and it's easy for us to take that same raising for which we was instilled and put into our children, because as Rico said, that's how we was raised. And everybody don't think how we think. So the approach nowadays is different. We have to do more talking and trying to explain so they can really understand, because I see now, kids these days, they are really, really green to a lot of stuff how we was, for us common sense wise. So we have to technology, like you say, they got all that stuff down pat, no problem. But just making the right decisions, common sense wise. So, but time, love, and affection, I would say that would be the three things for me.
Okay.
Mr. Gilbert, it was an older guy at church told me. He said, Williams, common sense is not that common these days.
What you say?
Yeah, you ain't lying about that one.
Boy, ooh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, and I think I would, I'm kind of in that same the kind of caveat on what you said, Mr. Gilbert, that a lot of men out there, I would say, one thing my uncle told me, said, man, all you got to do is try. And sometimes you have to change you got to change your circle, and you got to, be, once you're in a different stage in life, you got to see what's more important. I tell my oldest son all the time, I said, man, you changed my life, man. You the reason that I got on the right path, and it's okay. Like you say, we have to promote more to each other to govern your family. It's okay. You don't have to go out and hang out all the time and hit the clubs and shine for the boys no more. You now that you're a father, you got a legacy right there. You've got you've got a whole, life that you shape and mold, and you are the exemplifier. Nothing is more gravitational to a kid than father. I went in the military not thinking it was something that I couldn't do. It was something crazy because my daddy did it, because my brother did it. I didn't see no limitations. Matter of fact, anything that my dad does or anything that my dad tells me, it's automatic, because of that time and that relationship. And, you even see it in troubled kids and those that have been abused. It's so, a lot of it comes from their relationship with their dad, if they or lack thereof, and they're searching for that. And so, for the fathers out there that think that their role is somehow, minimal, man, no, you so important to that life that you created, and you got to be there. And paying bills or paying child support or what have you, that's cool, but that child don't know that. They know the time that they spend with you. And if I could tell anybody that at this point in my life, nothing matters more once you got a child, and being a good dad is okay. Not trying to keep up with what everybody got going on. That's okay, man. It's, and that's the cool thing. Yeah, that's the one thing I would say.
And Byron, what you ain't know about my story, I used to go play basketball every day, every weekend. I get off of work, I'm playing ball. When my daughter was being born, I was praying one night, and the Lord said, you want to be a good basketball player or a good daddy? So I stopped playing ball altogether. All my boys, man, we want you to come play in this tournament. We'll pay for it. I said, no, I'm not playing. They talked about me so bad, but I had to give up something. And then years later, the Lord gave it back to me as a basketball coach.
Yes, sir.
But I had to make that sacrifice at the time to get where I am today. And if I wouldn't have been listening to the Lord, where would I be as a father or as a person? So, I mean, I've been blessed to have great kids, but with the guidance of the Lord, that's the key to making everything work.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Man, I kind of had the same thing. I had a recording studio in Chattahoochee, right on Main Street. And I was trying to do music and trying to get out there. And I knew at some point I was going to have to leave, and either take things to Atlanta or somewhere, that had a real opportunity, because we were sitting right on the edge of something, But same thing, it's the same thing. Once I knew that I was having a firstborn son, it was like, you want to do this all night, weird hour thing, or you want to be a dad, you want to be a good father. And I was like, yeah, man, you ain't gotta ask me twice, Lord. And then from that point, getting hit with 2 girls. It was like, oh, all right, I got you. and then bam, then another set is like, yep, I think I got it now. You know, I got the message. So but yeah, and a lot of people ask those questions, but you know, it's a beautiful thing for me. You know, yeah, we got the monotonous of you know, parenthood, you know, kids, you know, getting, you know, doing arguing, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, man, I don't care what my brother told me this one time. He said, man, you don't complain because you sit in that car and it's quiet, or you in the house and it's dead silent, boy, you miss it, you know. So you miss that noise, you miss the running around and the fussing. So I cherish every minute of it. So it's brings me to the last question. What, and we're caveating again on the question, but the last one, but what final advice or more so words of encouragement you would give to fathers out there, especially good fathers like us that have to break the stigma. We constantly put in more that ever gets recognized, you know, that maybe feel lonely out there, maybe feel like, man, you know, I might as well be like some of these other guys. Like what words of encouragement would you give to those fathers out there like us? I start with you, Mr. Gilbert.
I will give them an encouragement by saying, be not weary in well doing. Continue to do good. Don't, you know, as fathers, sometimes we feel as if what we do, we don't get so much appreciation as do a lot of times the mothers. But keep doing good, you know. I know it seems like it's not paying off. The child might you have some children don't appreciate, you know, unappreciative no matter what that you do, but continue to do good and, you know, continue to instill all that you can that's good into that child. And I believe whenever that child gets older, he'll remember the things that you have done and he will appreciate you in the long run. So just continue to do good and God bless
you. Mr. Williams.
Show up. Everything they have, show up. Just be there. Be present. Be able to talk to them when they do wrong. Tell them they did wrong, but then encourage them and give them different things they could have done to make the outcome different. And just always be there, just no matter what. Because one thing I learned early, what helped me out was my dad always took me, and my mom always took me to FAMU campus. So with no doubt, that made me want to go to FAMU, which made me want to get my work done so I can get to FAMU. So I did that with my kids, and if I was as focused as my daughter, oh my goodness, ain't no telling where I'd be right now, because she's a lot more focused than I was. And I'm trying to teach my son the same thing, and he's doing a lot better than me, but I keep pushing him. I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better than me.
That's right.
That's it.
So, and whatever they do, whether it's rock climbing, you just show up, be there, even though you hate rock climbing, just show up and be there. My daughter's in a lot of pageants. I used to hate pageants, but I was there every one. And just to show up and be there and let you know they got your support, because sometimes it don't go the way you want it to go, and they need to know that daddy there. If you need a shoulder to cry on, daddy right here. You don't need to look for nobody else. Just to be present and be ready, and to always be strong, because your family gonna lean on you. Well, I was taught to never show emotions as a man, but later on, you have to. With a daughter, you're gonna show some emotions.
Yeah.
My son, you kind of hold together, but man, when you see your daughter cry, that's a terrible thing. So just be there, encourage them, kind of lead them in the right direction. But as long as you show up every time, that's what they'll remember more than anything else you tell them or anything else you do. Just make sure you show up.
Words of encouragement out there for all the fathers. And I want, and at the end of this conversation, I want a lot of men out there to realize that you're not alone. You know, I know we touched on some topics. I know we might even touch on a bunch of them. We could go for hours, but hopefully this sparks a conversation within your own circles, within your own families, that, you know, we may not thought that actually I have. And as we come on Father's Day, for a lot of us, let's reflect and let's spell the word love with our children, TIME, and spend that quality time. And for the most part, for a lot of us dads, man, it don't take much to make us happy. Just, you know, show us that you appreciate. And I know a lot of times, you know, we get a bad hand dealt, but we are very needed and we're very appreciated. So that's the biggest thing for us. I want to end off with a poem that was won me a lot of competitions when I was growing up, and it just became so fitting. It's a poem called "Be a Man," and at a time like this, it's almost, you know, needed for somebody to know what does it mean, you know, and we've all got to have a plan. And here's my poem: Be a man if you can, a man's man too. Have a plan if you can, to pull you through. Don't walk about with no ambition. Don't live on foolish superstition. Don't trust to luck. Get there by pluck. Be a man if you can, with a plan. You won't get a job if you wait till it comes. You'll never win battles by beating drums. Go into the fight and fight for your right, with a plan, like a man, if you can. Have you ever watched those big ships go by into the horizon and fade in the sky? Do they trust to luck to get there if they can? Do they heck on the deck? Is a man with a plan. When you feel whacked and there's 3 rounds to go, don't chuck it up. It's easy, I know. The other chap possibly feels just as blue. Let him do the quitting. It mustn't be you. Throw out your chest. Make the next round your best. And get into your man with a plan, if you can. Make life your servant. Don't be its slave. Fortune, you'll find, will come to the brave. Straight from the gold mouth. Make that your aim. With an Englishman's motto, playing the game. Be a man with a plan, if you can. Okay, so real quick, before we leave, why don't each of us shout out our family, our kids, our wives, real quick before we go. Start with you, Rico.
All right, Justin and his son, my grandson Aiden, my daughter Imani Williams, and my youngest son Corey Williams.
Outstanding.
And my wife Rebecca Williams.
Mr. Gilbert.
I will shout out to my wife Keandra Gilbert, my son Lonnie Jr., aka Scooter, and my son Evan. We call him Little Duke sometimes, but shout out to all my Gilbert family and to all my friends and loved ones.
Outstanding. And finally, me with my little tribe, I shout out Byron Jr., Araya, Ariel, Bryson, and Ariana, also known as Bop and Rye, and Ari and L. And last but not least, I got to shout out my wife, my better half, Ashley. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to the families. And just take that time to enjoy Daddy this weekend. All right. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Thank you, Mr. Williams, for showing up and having this conversation. Be a man. Real conversation with today's fathers. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for having me.